I worked with him at the Force and a little bit before, and I lost the standoff. The CEO said I got a choice between an All Black coach with a 93% winning record or a little fat guy from the Gold Coast. Guess who wins? So they paid me out and I came home. It was all, just two sorts of people in high performance sport, those who've been sacked and those who will be sacked. So you just got to get used to it. These things happen. So anyway, I've been home for a little while, for a couple of years, and have you guys heard the story that, this part of the story I won't make light of, but Mitch got stabbed, he got attacked when he was in Johannesburg. So my phone goes, and I go, hello, Wayne Goldsmith speaking. The guy says, g'day Wayne, it's so-and-so from the Sydney Morning Herald. And I said, yeah. He said, how can I help you? Can I ask where you were today? And I said, who are you again? What do you want to know? And he said, I'm so-and-so from Sydney Morning Herald. Where were you? I said, well, I was up walking in the mountains for Gold Coast Inland. He said, can anyone verify that? I'm thinking, I said, mate, well, if it's any of your business. I said, yeah, my best mate Brian was up there walking with me. I said, but why are you asking? He said, well, I don't know if you heard, but former All Black coach and Waikato legend John Mitchell was stabbed in Johannesburg, and apparently you're one of the prime suspects. And then the pennies dropped. I've gone, oh, who put you up to this? Because there was a guy that I've known for a long time, was a Juno with the Herald, and he said, I'll ring Goldsmith and see if you can fire him up on it. So no, I didn't do it. And it was a tragedy, and it was awful, and I did send a note through saying, I hope you're okay, mate. That sort of stuff, but there you go. All right, so, who did I say next? Us. Let's go. Can you believe the day's like almost halfway over? Can you believe 2.5 hours have gone like that? So you guys, applause yours. You can do role play, scenarios, tell stories, you can sing, whatever you like.
Clear the room very quickly.
Coach us. Coach us through it.
Yeah. Right. Our one was commitment.
Yeah, I'll just commitment, so we're just going to look at, firstly, ask you guys in the room whether you're committed to everybody's safety in this room. Put your hands up if you're committed to keeping everybody safe in the room.
Really? Only two of you?
Committed to talking safely, yes.
No, keeping us safe, keeping everybody in the room safe. Do you think you can be committed to that?
Yes, I think I do.
Does anybody want any more information around keeping people committed?
Keep people safe.
Keep you on task, committed to the people.
Okay, you're okay with that?
Cool. I'm going to stand up and make a suit.
Was that everybody? We'll just get some
Oh, it's confidential.
is everybody committed to keeping people safe?
Yeah.
Okay,
Come and make a circle, please.
Everybody?
No, you're not. It's not the
Yes, exactly. What a good head control it very well done.
A circle. Yeah, I'm not in it, you are.
Oval?
Circle.
We're
No,
not.
we're watching. See how you get on with this. Make a nice little circle. Right, so Nikki is going to be in the middle. Now Nikki is going to fall, and you guys are going to be committed to keeping Nikki safe.
Oh my God.
So she is, yeah. And when you catch her, you can then just give a gentle
Are we
push.
covered for this part?
And people on the other side of the circle can also keep her safe. So Nikki is going to bounce from one angle of the circle to the other. Right, go Nikki, you're on.
Very nice.
Okay, right Nikki, thank you. Now somebody else replace Nikki. Because Nikki was a pushover because she doesn't win.
Someone used to a bit of collision, you're going to have to watch him. He's enjoying it too much.
Yeah,
Somebody else.
Somebody
I
else.
love mixing it up.
Alright. No punches.
Not if you push the boss.
what is it you do, rugby?
Some of these questions are getting more.
So we felt that this was a way just to give people to understand a commitment to keeping each other safe.
Awesome.
If we hold it there, I was just sorry, what do you want? I was just talking and distracted you a little bit. Were you committed to keeping Mark safe, or did you
I was
turn
distracted
around?
because I wanted to answer the question. So, sorry, mate. We're off here.
What would you need to do to commit to Mark being safe in once I started talking to you?
Yeah, I suppose maintain my focus over here and probably decide which is priority here.
So prioritising what's more important.
Either answer your question or myself.
Cool. That's all good.
Thank you.
Is that? Right, that's it.
Cool. So what we're looking at is what does it look like? What does commitment look like for us? So in the circle, there was one person in the middle. So as a person on the outside of the circle, what do you think you needed to do to keep the middle person from falling?
Have a common purpose.
Have a common purpose? Yep. Cool. Anything else?
Awareness. What's happening around you.
Yeah, awareness of what's going on. Yep.
Yeah, I had to do my job. Like if you came towards me, I
Do your job. Yep.
concentrate.
Concentration.
Concentration.
Why did you have to do your job?
Because if I didn't, he would fall. And
And what did you say at the start when we asked you a question whether you were, what were you going to do to get committed to?
keeping him safe. Yeah.
It was about 3 minutes.
Yep. So just from us, teamwork, willingness to be coached, knowing what you need to do, all parts of what commitment looks like. So we'll just hand time up to our last two speakers here.
So the last area is how do you coach commitment? So how I see it is you're trying to lead by example, that they've got someone, they know what it feels or what it should be looking like, what we're expecting them to be doing each session. So I kind of lay down the law, or I give them a list of expectations of per session and throughout the year, both the rider and the parents. And so for me, an example would be giving their 30 minutes before the session starts, so I can sort out things myself, so I'm probably organised.
What's your name?
And so you just put me off.
It's okay, there's no trouble.
So the emphasis for me is lead by example. And if they can turn up 10-15 minutes before each session, then if I've got myself organised, I'll be having a little layout of the claims, for example, and they can be practising their skills before the track session. Do you want to give another example?
Okay, we can set and agree on our values for commitment. So you sit down with the team and actually decide what commitment's going to look like first, and then if they all agree on that, they've bought into it. So it should be then easier for them to commit. And the second one was setting goals, so they can set the goal of when to be at practice, what time to get there, can't read my own writing, and make up sort of punishments or things that happen if they don't come to practice, so that there's actually consequences. And the last one we put down was having a vision that they all agree to too. So if you're aiming to get to the top, commitment's got to be one of those things that is aimed at getting you to the top.
Okay, beautiful. Everybody bring your chairs in the middle so you can look this way. That's pretty good. All right, for me, commitment is everything. It is at this end. Commitment is everything. No excuses, no rationale, no blame. Commitment is, at this end is this phrase. It takes what it takes. Someone will say to me, how much volume should you do? Most common question I get anywhere in the world. How much training we should do? It takes what it takes. How many sessions a week? It takes what it takes. If you've decided to be the best in the world, it takes what it takes. If it takes you 10 hours and you get there, great. If it takes someone else 30, that's what it takes what it takes. If that's what you've decided. At this end, zero commitment. Having a go at skateboarding down at the local park just for a bit of fun because the hell of it. Playing with fairies and rainbows and magical ponies. Having a lot of fun back there and enjoying it. And as performance coaches, this is a concept I've really got to understand for about 10 reasons. This is one. A lot of people think the pathway to excellence from 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, Olympic Games, you know, or Super Rugby or whatever it is. That's what they think the athlete pathway looks like. And even the word pathway is a complete furphy because what it does, or misnomer, because it implies that it's a path, like the path outside. In reality, the athlete pathway looks like this. And it's their commitment to get through those times when they're not improving, when they're injured, when they're sick, when there's breakdown, when there's performance plateaus, when things are going wrong. It'll be their commitment. I love my wife. We've had some rough times. My mum died 2 weeks ago. We've had a really rough month. Illness, stress in the family. We've just lost our business for reasons outside of control. It's said this is not the best moment in my life. I'll be here is, but in terms of the last few months, it's not the best time I've ever had. I can promise you, what's going to keep Helen and I together? Uncompromising commitment to each other. Because we've all been through things like that. Marriage doesn't go like that. Life doesn't go like that. Nothing goes like that. And it's commitment, guys, that keeps you and your athletes driving towards their ultimate goal, no matter what's going on. You just keep going. You just keep going. That's first point I'd make. Second point, incredibly important, 4 different sorts of athletes that you'll meet in this world. If this axis is talent and this one is commitment, to me, the ones you meet, the kids with no talent and no commitment, this is not the room to talk about it. That's a community issue, it's a society issue, it's a health issue. This is a performance coach group. That's something that you need to talk about in a different forum. It's sad, it's disappointing. There's an obesity epidemic, there's a whole range of things going on, but that's not for this group. In this corner, these athletes, high talent, high commitment. I've seen 10 of them in my life. Michael Phelps, I've just come back from altitude training, Colorado Springs. I saw Phelps train once in the gym. I had 9-1 already dialed. I was just waiting for him to fall over to dial the next one to get the ambulance. And the guy, 18 Olympic gold medals, unbelievable record of performance. He's got more medals than most countries. He's won more Olympic gold medals in swimming than this nation put together over the last 100 years in himself. Our best athlete, Phelps, has got 3 times more gold medals than a guy like Ian Thorpe. This guy is out there, nothing to prove, millions of dollars, international celebrity. They've just had their first baby, him and his wife. They call it Boomer. Let's go with that. And when you're a celebrity, you do whatever you like. And without doubt, the most impressive gym session I've seen any athlete do for the last 2 years was watching him train at altitude when he's got nothing to prove. He's got what has he possibly got to prove? He's known around the world, multi-millionaire. Everything's going great for him. Owns half a dozen great racehorses. He's trying to get one in the Kentucky Derby. Got everything you can possibly imagine. Achieved everything. World record holder, best of all time, athlete of the century. Done all that in the gym, driving himself to higher standards than he's ever done before. Because his commitment to excellence, his commitment to his goals and his achievement is unbeatable. George Gregan, I worked with him at the Brumbies and with the Wallabies. Gregs was the same, about this big. Tested off the chart every time he did physical testing. You could not believe what this guy could do for someone that size. 139 tests for the Wallabies, this big. Tackling guys 130 kilos all over the world. Captain. We'd be walking out of the gym and see a dirty towel and pick it up and put it in the bin. Incredibly integrity, selflessness, drive, commitment, decency, respect. Had the package. You see 10 of them in your life if you're lucky. Far fewer than you really think. Most of the NRL players I work with, and even the AFL, I won't tell you are untalented. They've usually got talent in 1 or 2 areas. So they're really quick, and they've got a good pass, but they don't have a step, and they don't have a lot of endurance. So they've got great endurance, and they've got a step, but they've got no power, and they're not particularly good at D or something. So you very rarely see too many with the whole package, but you quite often will see this, is their drive and their ambition and their burning desire to be the best they can be and realise the full extent of their potential is there, and they get there through their commitment. Without doubt, the hardest group of athletes to work with are these group. The ones with superior physical talent with an awful attitude. The ones that you're saying, you could be anything, mate. If you only knew how hard you had to work to get to the top with your talent, you could go anywhere, you could do anything. And we've all, who's had athletes like that? All had them. Guys, they break your heart. Because you and your ego, you believe that you're going to be able to turn them around and convert them to here. And you rarely ever can do it. It's very, very difficult. Because a lot of the values that we talk about, commitment, dedication, who's the biggest influence on an athlete before the age of 10? Mum or dad. Between 11 and 13, 11 and 14 or so, I think we've got a window of opportunity where we can make a big dent and a big impact on values and character and so on. After that, 14 and up, good luck. God bless you. Much, much more difficult to do. Harder to have an influence on the things that really matter and the parts of them that are in place, because all the research says, my wife's a psychologist for obvious reasons, and a teacher, and a dual Commonwealth Games medalist in swimming, in fly and breaststroke, and also a coach. And Helen will say this over and over, all the things that we talk about are in place, or the seeds have been planted before the age of 10. As the twig is bent, so shall it grow. Yep, so much of that is there. And that's why tomorrow night we've got a session on with parents involved, because if we don't get them involved, this stuff is very hard to put in place, because the parents should have developed a lot of this stuff before they got there. So back to this person. All right, this may, again, one of my myths for you. The kid in town, who everyone says could be anything, could do anything, usually ends up doing nothing. In every city, every town, every sport around the world, I'll be someone and I'll say, Wayne, you've got to see this kid, he's 11, he's got 120 tries last year, he's going to be the greatest All Black of all time. I almost feel sorry for the kid. I almost look at him and say, there is no chance this kid will ever play, even 16 rep. That's how strongly I feel about early talent and precocious talent. The chances of an outstanding, physically gifted, an athlete with superior physical talent getting to the top in that sport is very remote. But some of them in regional areas can be so talented that they can con you. So there was a kid they showed talking about the other day in Southland. She's playing volleyball, netball, basketball, swims, does triathlon, and he's a regional rep in all of them. Captain in 2 of them. Outstanding physical specimen. If I was a punter, I'd say he should be out of sport in 2 years. Because everyone's saying to her, oh, you're great, she's great, she's great. I watched her train, she was terrible. In terms of training and work ethic and attitude towards teammates and disrespect, I was not impressed with her at all as an athlete. As a physical specimen, pretty impressive. Pretty tall, pretty strong, bunch of stuff there. So her coach is looking at her thinking, if I can convert that athlete to understand what commitment looks like, with the talent she's got, we can achieve anything. So then it comes down to what we've been talking about. What is commitment? In any given situation, a committed athlete, when given the choice between doing things the easy way and the hard way, will choose to do it the hard way. So they will choose to do it the hard way. Success is a choice. Yep, success is a choice. In any given situation, a committed athlete will demonstrate their commitment. When they're given a choice between doing things the easy way and the hard way, will choose to do things the hard way. Coach says, I want you to do 3 sets, 8 to 10. Easy way? 8. Hard way? 11. Alarm goes off at 6 AM, time to go to practice on Sunday morning. Easy way? Snooze button? Hard way? Get up, have something to eat. Pick up the bag you packed yourself the night before. Knock on mum and dad's door and say, excuse me, would you guys drive me to practice? Easy way, hard way. Kid comes home from practice, drops their bag on the ground. Mum can sort that out. I'm absolutely brutal on the parents tomorrow night. They're going to be there, you want to send them along with a body bag because half of them will be dead by the end. Because I say to them, don't do anything for your kids. Don't pick up after them, don't fill their water bottles, don't pick up their towel, don't empty their sports bag, do not clean their sports gear. It's making you feel good because you can't move on from the time when they're 6, 7 and 8. You're doing the exact opposite of what I want as a coach. And I'll tell them that in the same words tomorrow night. I want independent, responsible athletes who accept full accountability of the decisions they make, and I need that by the time they're in their mid-teens. If you're still picking up their washing and putting their plate in the washing machine and emptying their bin and not making them take their hamper in and put it in the washing machine, you are not helping me and you're not helping them. All you're doing is making yourself feel useful. Mum and dad don't do it anymore. So I get them to make a bit of a pledge. So if you're seeing parents tomorrow night, you need to prepare them because it's not going to be good. Well, it'll be good for you because I'm doing the dirty work and they can say, we hate that stupid Australian. But hopefully we might shock a few of them into actually really understanding what it means to help coaches do their job and help their kids get better. So that's what we're going to do tonight.
Are you talking about performance kids?
Yes.
When you're saying that?
Well, even young kids, because they're going to be athletes if they're lucky. If they're Dan Carter, they're going to be at the peak of their game for 10 years, but they're going to be human beings for 80. So a lot of this independence, resilience, all these skills that mum and dad can help us put in place. Why can't a 2-year-old pick up a towel and put it in a hamper? I've got 4 kids. I've got a 15-year-old girl, 13-year-old boy, 10-year-old boy, and a boy that turns 6 in a couple of days. And I understand kids. I work with them all the time. I've got 4 at home. Why can't a 4-year-old put their plate in a dishwasher? Why can't a 15-year-old boy who walks around all day carrying 15 kilos in his school bag, who presses 10 to 12,000 buttons a day on their iPad, iPhone, on their computer and on their remote control, why can't they pick up a hamper full of dirty clothes, put it in a washing machine and go power on start? It's because mum and dad, they think by nurturing them and doing those things for them, they're helping them because they're showing them love. What I need them to do is help them become better human beings by teaching them independence, because then we can really get our job done.
So what happens if one parent is like you and the other parent is a sophist?
Get another parent. Look for another partner. You ever heard of eHarmony? Heard of eHarmony or RSVP, one of those online dating services? So listen, darling, my daughter's netball success is far more important than you, and there's the door. Has anyone got a credit card so I can join an online dating agency? I don't know. I'm not going to get involved in your personal relationships, but I'm lucky because I have a wife that is far smarter, better looking, funnier, more intelligent than me. Just ask her, she'll tell you. But this now means what? If this is my definition, this doesn't have to be yours, but this is mine. What does it mean I can do? I can coach commitment now, because I can teach them how to make a choice which demonstrates commitment. So guys, when I was in University of Texas, head coach comes up to me and says, I've got a couple of guys I want you to look at. I want you to watch them for a couple of days, and then I want you to see what you can advise them. So I got this guy from Singapore in his team, beat Phelps 2 weeks ago. And so the kid's pretty good, obviously, and he's a butterfly. So I watched this kid for 2 days, and I've got to have a talk to him. So I went up to him and said, Joe, you got a couple of minutes? He said, yes, coach. Nice to get respect somewhere in the world. And I said, Joe, you got a couple of minutes? Yes, coach. I said, coach has asked me to look at you, and what do you think I see? And he said, I don't know. I said, no, what do you think I see when I look at you as a young man? He said, oh, I don't know, coach. I said, well, I'll tell you what I see. I see a young man who's funny. So I had a few jokes with you about Anchorman, you know, anyone seen that movie? You know, Ron Burgundy? No, okay. So anyway, so we had a few jokes about a movie that we've got in common that we like. So I enjoyed that. I said, you're a funny guy. Team likes you, popular. So you're doing things in the water I've never seen before. I mean, to put this in perspective, Eddie Ruiz says this is the most talented athlete I've ever had in my program. A guy with 59 Olympians says this is the most talented athlete I've ever had. You'll probably want to pay attention to this kid. He was doing stuff I've never seen anyone do. It was remarkable. But then I look at him in the eyes, and like you guys, proximity, said, I see a kid with incredible talent. A kid who every dream you've ever wanted is right there, your destiny is within your grasp. But you keep making the wrong decision, Joe. Why do you keep making the wrong decision? He said, what do you mean, coach? I said, well, why were you late? Why were you late getting in this morning? He said, well, you know, last night. Why were you late this morning? Well, you know, there was this morning. Joe. Well, when the alarm went off, I was a bit tired. I said, okay, you decided, you chose to make the wrong decision. You chose to roll over and go back to sleep. What's your ambition? I want to beat Phelps. What do you think he did this morning? Oh, I think he probably got up and I said, so again, why did you choose? Why did you, not me, don't blame coach, don't blame facilities, equipment. Why, Joe, did you choose to roll over and go back to sleep? Because now I can coach commitment with him. I can start talking about what it looks like and what behaviours are conducive of commitment. This is coaching now. If I stand and yell at him and say, why were you late? Do 1,000 metres as punishment. That's not coaching, it's stupidity. And anyone can do it. That's not coaching is here up. Training is there down. How is doing something there down going to improve there up? It's not. I've got to touch his heart. I've got to connect with him emotionally. And in doing so, I can get the change, which is why we started off with that about 3 hours ago. That's why we did that session on what is coaching and change, and that's how we do it. So guys, when you're working on these things, if you think commitment is important, understand what it is, and then, once you understand what it is, what it means to you, it's like Mark Harvey from the Lions with that exercise we just did. There's no textbook definition that you can find, or research paper by a psychologist that will say the definition of mental toughness is when you continue to play football well, when an umpire makes a bad decision, That doesn't matter. This is a coach trying to make a change with mental toughness who says, this is what it means to me, and I need to know how can I coach that. So then we come up with that, and then we look at the research to see if there's anything with Google backwards. This is the LGOO concept. Look at Google last. Discover what it means to you first and how you can coach it. So guys, commitment to me is just critical to understand, because so many ways what we're trying to do from participation level onwards, we're trying to shift commitment towards this, because we know that to be the best in the world, to be the best that they can be, it's going to take 100% commitment. If that's the case, I need to know how to shift it. I need to know what it is, what behaviours are conducive of them living a committed lifestyle, and then I can coach it. All right, any questions? All right, final group. I don't know if to ask you a question, it's just your go. Let's go. So, same process. So guys, you can take photos and stuff if you want. If you don't, it's fine. It's your day. You can use the board, you can use... So who's getting up? It's your go group. Do I sense that you're lacking confidence here? So while we're getting up, coach in the blue shirt there checking his phone.
No, I'm seeing the picture to myself now.
Ah, I like the way it said. I often do that too. I often sit there and play, you know, Angry Birds, but I tell people I'm taking notes. I didn't say anything, it's fine. But before you said that standing up, you're outside your comfort zone. Are you serious?
In this environment, yeah, absolutely.
No, you were great. You know, you were fine. If you wouldn't have said that, I wouldn't have picked it up. So, just keep doing what you're doing. Jerry Seinfeld says the biggest fear people have is speaking in public, and death's number 2. So that means that most funerals, people would prefer to be in the casket than doing the eulogy. That's a pretty funny line if I always think about it. I always say my 10-year-old had to get up, and there was a show on locally, and I think he sees himself as the next Russell Crowe. Anyone knows that Kiwi, we've got to think of somebody else. But he thinks of himself that he'd like to do a bit of acting and be in shows and have a bit of fun. And he said, Dad, I'm really nervous. And I said, the easiest thing I can suggest is just before you get up, close your eyes for 2 seconds and think about the most wonderful, happy thing that's ever happened to you. You know, think about the kids, best mate, World Cup final, whatever it is, so that your first thing you do as you get up is joy and happiness, and that will connect with the audience. So it's a really simple way of doing it. But you know, if you find that next time, put your head there just for a couple of seconds and just go on. You know, the first time I saw my child smile at me, or whatever it is for you, and just step up, and that connection with something that's precious to you, that then projects, and then they warm and they connect to you straight away.
Sure.
But I like this, if you wouldn't have said it, I wouldn't have said it.
Good, sure.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're talking about confidence, and we've just kind of made a bit of a list of what we think confidence.
Okay, start again, do it without the arms.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm not horrible. How many people hate Australians? No! If someone was talking about confidence and I wanted to see confidence, what's your first, if you've got an issue, a couple of little things to throw out. You've got to think about your first word and just hit it. Confidence is, so just hit it, and instead of when the starts, just pause. Graham Henry, that I've been lucky to do a few things with him over different times. He's got a very annoying habit, but you never forget it. Graham will say, so what do you think about that, mate? And you'll tell him, and he'll say, really, that's interesting that you'd say that. So what do you think about that one? Tell him. I'm not sure I agree with that one. He's got this thing he does. I don't know where he does, but the pause, you're sucked in. But if he's talking at you and he'd just be another rugby coach. But he's just got this really interesting. So the pause sometimes slows you down, gives you a chance to think, have a breath, drags them in.
Okay.
First word, and then hit them.
Self-belief.
Beautiful.
Ability. Self-acknowledgement. Strengths and weaknesses. Humility. Communicative. Competent. Leadership. Asking questions.
Guys, how good is that? You're waiting to hear the next word instead of going, I'm sick of this list. You're waiting to hear the next word, so you're engaging with them. What's the definition of engagement apart from wearing a ring? Athletes are engaged when they're giving you more than could be expected. So you're involved if you're doing it, if you're taking notes. You're engaged if you're leaning in, listening, paying attention and becoming part of it. So I was waiting, I wanted to hear the next word because I was engaged, and the pause sucked me in. So good job, keep up that, good work.
Can I just state that stand out there too, besides from the other a little bit too, was the eye contact, individuals to eye contact that she went around to.
Yeah, great, fantastic. You're doing well.
Thank you for that fantastic description of So I'm moving on to how would you recognise confidence? Confidence can be displayed physically through having eye contact with your athletes. It can also be displayed by your body language. So if you're standing up and you're sort of watching around, you know, doesn't really show that you're a confident person at all. But if you're actually standing in front of the person that you're talking to, or the athletes, and you're actually engaging them and asking them to mentally draw out a next question or whatever you're talking about, that there is confidence. It's also being able to show initiative. It's being able to try new things. The person that's confident isn't afraid to try new things.
Try to pause instead of it's good, it's good, it's good.
And
It's okay, it's fine.
so that's how I would recognise confidence.
It's excellent.
Thank you.
It's great. Looks like we're going along the chain here. I get the tough question, which is how do you coach confidence? And within our group, we had a great discussion because we have individual coaches and team coaches. So there are different scenarios for both of those. A team coach has a group of athletes to coach, an individual coach may only have one. So a team coach, and we spoke within our group of our team coaches, how we would deal with that scenario, and diversing a little bit. I coach 2 teams, I have 24 athletes to manage. I cannot manage all 24 athletes, so how collectively as coaches we would deal with that. Identifying a young generation of athlete on a high performance youth coach. This young generation like data, they like film, they don't like verbal evaluations. So it's presenting that information for those athletes, and for those athletes understanding, as a coach, understanding them and how you build on their confidence levels, and also how you protect them. So it's quite a different scenario. We spend a lot of time on this, so as a result of that, I think I can pass it on to some of our other coaches as well for their feedback, particularly this coach.
You guys have 2 minutes? Yep, good.
I'd just like to regress and go back to how we recognise a couple of other things that we discussed, and that was willing to lead by example. Athletes that show confidence are willing to stand up, and from my perspective, from my sport, they're willing to take the lead of the lane. Athletes that lack confidence will drop to the back. Another one is they don't fear the consequences of whether it be training or competition. They're willing to go out, give it them all, and handle the result at the end. They also expect good results for themselves and good outcomes. They don't go in with a negative attitude. And how to coach in swimming, there's a lot of testing goes on, so you're continually giving the athletes feedback. They learn to repetitive sets where they understand where they're at. They were at last week and where they're at this week and so forth. We spoke about the pathway a moment ago and having that graded line, and in swimming that happens a lot, but people say if you're not on this line at this particular point in time, then you're not going to reach this end point, which is basically a load of garbage, and you've got to make your athlete understand and give them the confidence to understand that there are different things that will happen along the way that will upset that pathway. Could be home life, could be sickness, could be peer pressure, where they start to doubt themselves. So getting back to the confidence, you've got to give them responsibility. Put them in positions. Sorry?
Group's got about a minute.
Put them in positions that they're unused to, move the person on the back to the front, ask them to do strokes that they would normally attempt, dictate to them instead of giving them a choice. And you've also got to make them feel good about themselves. So give them positive encouragement whenever possible.
Few seconds left. Teaching confidence, tied in with the mental toughness, training the athlete to compete well in a competition environment, having the confidence to be able to do that. We, like my sport is shooting, so we try to build in strategies or into the training, like if there's equipment failure, or for instance, or some sort of range failure, so there's time constraint. All of a sudden things change. You know, so you have to know that you can shoot fast, you can compete slow. You're going to have to work with different scenarios and still do well. You know, you build that into training. They know they can do it. They've got to go to strategy if something like that happens again. They know what to do. So the confidence to do that, to be able to change what is considered normal.
Good. Okay, let's give them a rating. We've got to do it in the last group, we got off easy. So let's give them a rating. So you guys, rating out of 10, give me some feedback what they do well, what they can do better, how effective were they? Let's go.
I thought when you stopped and just gave some advice at the start that they were nice to build on all that stuff. That was good. That's your feedback. And you good eye contact.
I think if you took that group and that group, I thought your group was really engaging because you got us all up and involved. But sometimes we'll be sitting down, it's easy for people just to disengage. So maybe just potentially change the way you deliver along the long journey, because then it might pick you up or bring you back into some engagement.
Yeah, I think just in terms of connecting me as a listener in terms of the examples that you guys could have provided by way of coaching confidence. It's sort of like the theory to the practical.
Yeah, I think.
So I just wanted to get some more practical application.
Computer, you lost me completely. You gave examples of what you do with your bringing the player forward, from the back of the line. As soon as you started doing that, you had thinking. So, I suppose examples are really good.
Okay, rating out of 10?
6 for me.
7.
Okay, pretty good score. Yeah, high credits, good. Right, other group, give them some feedback. Help them get better, that's what we do.
I think to get better, well, we did, the first speaker got better because she was sort of like lacking confidence in but at the end of what she said, it was excellent. And she engaged us because we were just like we're saying, like hanging on every word. And everyone, I don't know, but from me, everyone spoke well. I got a message from each and every one of you. Our brother in the middle here, when he got up, oh, okay, he's getting up, so he started moving around, made things sort of more dynamic, I guess. You seemed relaxed, and I think that was the reason for all of you sitting down, because it was comfortable for you, and it sort of seemed relaxing for you. So, from what I got was be as comfortable and relaxed as you can when you're giving a talk.
Excellent. Anybody else with feedback for them? If not, just the score. It's up to you.
I feel like using different tones of voice would have engaged me a little bit more. So as we went on originally, it was quite high tone. We had the improvements through getting feedback, and it changed. But as we went on a little bit, the tone was just kind of one tone, and I found myself needing to be engaged a little bit more. So like a change of tone or a stand up or something else would have engaged me a little bit more into the conversation.
Score out of 10?
7.
Yeah, anybody different? Same, more? 2? 4? No? Okay, guys, turn around, let's talk about something else. Talk about confidence. So just stay where you are, just turn your chairs around. Guys, volume is not the answer. So think for a moment, the greatest coaches you've ever known, heard of, worked with. Just picture in your mind who. All right. Do any of these words fit them? Kind, sweet, loving, adorable, compassionate, lovely, peaceful, huggy. Unlikely. It's going to be, wow, amazing coach. Pretty tough though. Never gave in. Great coach. Oh, didn't they work? Oh, she was an awesome coach. Oh man, didn't she go off? We know that an important element of being a performance coach is being uncompromising on the standards that you set. The mistake so many of us make is that we allow the emotion of the moment to determine our communication. So we allow the frustrations of dealing with athletes, particularly younger ones, to determine things like volume and language. So who's in the room's got teenage kids? Put your hands up so I can see who I've had them. Right, is this anything like you? We have to be on the bus at 7:30, 6 a.m. Sweetheart, I'll get up. 6:15. Hey mate, come on. Time to get going. Got to be in the bus 7:30. Hey, have you done your tea? Have you got your books? Have you done your homework? Have you got your lunch? Have you filled up your water bottle? Where's your sports gear? 7:25. Get on the bus! So as we're not getting the response we want, we go up and up and up and up. And that's not being uncompromising. The phrase I like is this, is there's a difference between hard and bastard. You don't have to be loud, abusive, obnoxious to maintain standards and not compromise on them. So the example would be, and you know, this is a swimming example, kid comes in, doesn't do the right thing, I say, well, that's not the standard we agreed on before session for what we're trying to achieve. We'll do it again. Oh, I don't want to do it again. Why should I do it? Understand you feel like that. You know this is important. We're going to do it again. That's not bloody fair. I should do it. He didn't have to. Completely understand where you're coming from. We're going to do it again. I'm the hardest coach you'll ever meet, but you don't have to raise your voice. What you do is say, I am unwilling to compromise on the standards I believe are important because I desperately want you to be successful, and I know this is what it's going to take for you to get there. There's no need to yell if you want to be uncompromising and help them achieve their goals. So guys, control your language and control the volume. So you use volume and you use, I wouldn't say aggression is too strong, but you use the emotion in your voice to achieve a specific outcome if it's going to help them get better. So you can have a good coach, bad coach environment. So I'll do that from time to time. As I say to the assistant coaches, say, guys, they're going to rev up today, I'm going to absolutely rip into them about 15 minutes into the workout. And this is what I'm going to say, and it's going to be loud and it's going to be confronting because I'm just not happy that we're where we need to be, and then what I need you to do and you to do is this, this and this. So you're there in 15 minutes in the workout. Everybody come here right bloody now! 2 to 3 minutes maximum, otherwise they start going blah, 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 blah. And they're not listening. Give yourself a bit of distance. Assistant coaches come in, give some instruction, some feedback to help them get better, and you use it once a month if you've got to. But if you're a coach and you think you're trying to get results, and you get better results by getting louder, and you get great results by going up again, it's just not effective. It's about understanding what it's going to take to get better, refusing to budge, refusing to compromise on the standards that you know of what's required to be successful. So guys, use your voice and your communication, your body language to achieve an outcome. Don't allow the moment to determine the emotion and dictate your coaching for you. All right, confidence. One of my favourite topics. I'm very confident about this topic. You can tell my jokes are so bad. I've got 4 young kids and I go swimming. My whole life is one big fun. That's all I do. All right. Confidence comes in cans. Not close. Confidence comes in cans. I can, we can, you can, she can, they can. Confidence comes in cans. I want them standing at Nationals, about to settle down onto the blocks for the 200 metres on the track, and I want them going, I can, I can, I can. And the little voice says, but this is Nationals. You can't, you can't, you can't. And the voice saying, I can, I can, I can, because my training's been great, I've been great in the gym, I haven't missed a workout, my diet's good, my technique's wonderful, I can, oh, but you've never raced at this level before, yes, but I can, I can. We want the little voice. So this is you. This side was obviously a tight head prop. Just a little rugby humour there. Right, so we want the I can voice much louder and much clearer than the I can't voice. And we've all got these voices in our head. So I've got a lot of work to do this afternoon. I'm going to go home and have my head down until about 8 o'clock. And then Fat Wayne and Thin Wayne will have the battle. Fat Wayne will see the beers in the minibar and say, mate, it's been a long day, buddy. Have a couple of beers, you deserve them. Thin Wayne's going to say, listen, Paulie, you struggled to get those jeans on this morning. You've been letting it go a little bit too much. You've done no exercise. You really don't need another couple of beers. Fat Wayne says, come on, what's wrong? You're working hard. Halfway through the tour, you're going to be tired. Mate, relax a little bit. Enjoy life. You deserve it. Listen, Fatso, you don't need those beers. You might enjoy them once you have one. If you've got to have one, and make sure it's a light one. So, we've got these voices going on all the time. Those pair of shoes are beautiful. I really need them. I've got to have them. Listen, spender. Credit card's already maxed out. You've got 16 pairs of shoes you've never worn. Do you really need? Yeah, of course I do. I don't have a pair with black and red and green and orange and purple spots on them. Apparently that's in fashion this year. Listen, and so we've got these little voices we're battling. With our athlete, we need this voice. So how do I coach that voice to be their dominant, go-to, default voice, their default mindset when they're in the process of doing something exceptional in competition? What's going to make them, I can?
Repetition.
Yes, getting on the right track. What else? Right. My definition of confidence is belief times evidence. So what's evidence?
You've done it before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Strength training, power training, information about nutrition, endurance work, agility, prior competitions, qualifying, simulators in training, technique work, skill work. Coaches, we fill the can with experiences and training and lead-up competitions and trials and simulators. We do that so that the can is full. And so we're running out against the mighty Australians. No. So running out, and you go, oh, my first test match, I don't think I can do this. There's so many people, and the big voices saying, man, we've pushed ourselves in training, there's nothing I haven't done. I've been awesome in Super Rugby, look out Aussies. That's what we want, and they get that. When they're 5, Mummy loves you and I believe you can do it. That's all it needs, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the ability to maintain confidence in tough situations. Be able to get the job done with this I can mindset. Because the other way doesn't make any sense. You've got a kid here going, I can. This kid going, I can't, I suck, I am bloody awful, I have no chance. Because the way your body works is like this. So there's your head. We've got thoughts up here. We've got words here. And then that goes out to what? The meat. Actions. So I'm standing there going, I can't. I'm telling you, I'm telling her, with respect, I'm telling everybody in the team and myself, because as I verbalise it, I'm saying it and I'm hearing it, mentally and audibly, so you don't want to hear people saying, I can't, out loud, which is what happens. Oh, how do you feel today? Because I don't think I can do this style with it. All they do is reinforcing the I can'ts. this is going to be appalling because this does what this says. And if this thinks this says, that's what this does. That's why negative self-talk is so damaging. Because this does what this says. And if this is going, I can't, this will, I can't. But the difference between big kids and little kids is little kids you can turn it around fairly easily by just playing a few games and having a joke. Older ones need evidence to be convinced that they can, which is why we do lead-ups, which is why we do simulators, which is why, if you want to remember, this is something I believe in passionately. Training must be more challenging and more demanding than the competition you're preparing for. Training must be more challenging, mentally, emotionally, technically, tactically, more challenging and more demanding than the competition you're preparing for. So that when I go to competition, whatever gets thrown at me, I can deal with it. One of the problems that most of us have, guys, is that national championships are there and we train at that level. And we think, well, when they go to nationals and they've got their special gear on and their fast shoes and the emotion will get you done. It's the last thing you want. If you're relying on the emotion of nationals to take them from 98% of their best to the top, the very thing we want them to control is not the thing you want to rely on. You're relying on luck and hope, and neither are high-performance strategies. Luck and hope are what the punters think they want to pray for. Luck and hope are not high-performance strategies. I need to set my training standards and what I'm asking of my athletes there so they come down into, if you like, another way that I talk about it is like this, to say, if you want your athletes to be good in Waikato, train them to win at national level. If you want them to win national, try to train them to be at international standard. You want them to win there, that's a whole other story. Try to think about training them for a standard above the one that they're in. Because what will happen most of the time, if you set your goals of winning there, most of the time you'll train there. If you think one level up, it's just a way of saying to myself, I've got to set my training standards much higher than the current level that I'm setting them. So guys, this is confidence. Now, this is even more interesting. What is self-belief? What is self-belief? Come on, some more. Guys, we've been doing this for 4 hours. We know each other very well. You should feel very comfortable speaking up now.
Confidence in your ability?
Yeah, confidence in your ability. Yeah, probably more intimate than that, but it's not bad. Yes, how you feel about yourself more. How you love yourself. How you accept yourself. How you value yourself. That's self-belief. When is all that stuff in place?
Really?
Under 10 years of age, the way you feel about yourself, your capacity to love yourself and accept yourself for no reason other than you are who you are, for not what you do. This is another message I'll belt the parents with tomorrow night. We might only have 2 parents in the end, mate, because I'll scare them all off. And so I say to parents, never introduce your son as a backstroker, your daughter as a netballer, your son as a rugby player. Never, ever do it. Because if they feel that your love and acceptance of them is directly associated with the thing they do and they can't do it anymore, well, who are they? In the last 3 years, I mean more to you than anybody, Grant Hackett, Michael Kling, Susie O'Neill, Samantha Riley, Kieran Perkins, Ian Thorpe, Daniel Kowalski, Jeff Hugel, all Olympic gold medalists, world record holders or both, all admitted to substance abuse, alcoholism, depression. So much of what we're seeing, there's a lot of other factors, but so much of what we see is when athletes, the way they feel about themselves is tied into what they do. When they can't do that thing anymore, they suffer terribly with identity. Who am I? I've always been this thing. I've always been the person who's been known for doing this thing. I can't do it now, well, who am I? I don't know. Because I'm not this thing that has defined me. So this will be a really clear message to the parents, is to not do that. I've been associated with 2 suicides in NRL. So I've been involved in teams. The last one was the West Tigers a couple of years ago. It's horrible. It's really horrible. And we missed it. We just didn't see it. A guy from the Pacific Islands had a whole bunch of issues that, have been documented if anyone who wants to look it up, but a whole bunch of issues that he was grappling with. And what you do, coaches, is you look at a player or an athlete and you go, well, they're a player. Therefore, if playing is right and I get training right and they're doing the right weights, everything will be fine. No one is a player. No one is only a teacher or only a mum or only a engineer. We're human beings. We're this. This guy is a player, but might have also been a student and a son and a musician and played other sports and a friend and a lover and a dad and a whole bunch of stuff. And one of the things, coaches, you need to be really aware of, don't think about your athletes in those terms. Think about them as human beings who just happen to play rugby league, or they're human beings who just happen to hit a hockey ball really well. But there's so many other aspects that we need to be aware of when we're thinking about connecting with them and working with them. It sucks, guys. You do not want to go through this. So what happens, and I said my wife Helen's a psych and she deals with abnormal psychology, mainly with troubled teens, and we talk about this stuff a lot. So what can happen, and I'd be interested if anybody's been through this, is that you can be exceptional at your coaching. The athletes can be working with commitment. They can be mentally tough. They can have all those qualities and attributes. And the bucket is full. And they should be able to do the thing that they're aiming to do. But they can't. So I remember a girl we took to the World Championships, who at the World Championships was still going, I don't think I can do this. Was the favourite going into a final. And still, coach was trying to talk her into the fact that she deserved to be there and she was the best in the world. So even at that stage, with all this, and coaches there going, well, I don't understand because this is the time you went in trials. Oh yeah, but that was trials, this is really different. No, it's not. This is the same, and your training sets have been brilliant, and you've been great in the gym. Oh yeah, well, and there was this negative self-talk and belittling of herself, because the way, not that she felt as an athlete, but the way the 7 or 8 year old her felt about herself hadn't really changed that much. So it was really important that you understand that, and this is not as infrequent as you might like. Get this right. Fill their cans, so they've got the I cans there. But be aware, who's had kids that are just negative self-talkers, don't believe in themselves, continually rubbish themselves, can't believe no matter what training you do, your logic is saying to them, but you've done this, you've done that, and you're trying to prove it. That's why we call it evidence. You're trying to prove to them that they can do it, and they're not listening at all. So what do you do with those athletes?
I just chose to back off and not put them under pressure.
Sometimes that works, yeah. How would you pick one? How do you pick somebody who's got that type of an issue?
The one I've got is very introspective, really sad looking all the time.
Yeah.
No joy, don't appear to be enjoying the sport.
Yeah.
But it all comes from peer pressure, from mum and dad, or from mum.
Yeah.
I think because sometimes there's a bit of a front there too. So you can't sort of really detect it as such, and signs and symptom signs are prevalent.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering about the systems or the networks or whatever sort of
happens in footy all the time, mate.
All these networks that you can call upon, and they can sort of
happens in footy all the time. So
yeah.
that layers thing again. Yeah. You're talking to some bloke and he's going, with respect, yeah, bro. Yeah. I like playing footy. Yeah, it's all good. How you going with the pressure? Yeah, bro, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's all right, you know. And there could be all sorts of stuff going on, but they're projecting to you that person that they want you to see, which is why we did that weight exercise with your own coaching at the beginning of the day, guys. Yeah, and so you spend a bit more time and you talk to them and say, well, actually, sometimes it's a bit difficult for me, you know, I struggle with this and struggle with that, and then you can start to help them and work with them once you understand it. But if you take that, yeah, it's all cool, mate, all right, yeah, fine, it's that. There could be, and which is what I found with the two guys that are committed suicide. Outwardly, it's like they're big guys, strong guys, super fit, great in the gym. See, well, they look all right, they're fine, they're blokes. Fit, strong, healthy, powerful in the gym, weights are going up, sprinting fast, kill themselves. So that's one of the extreme end. We've got to be aware we're working with human beings who are not always what they seem. And this is our art, positive and dealing with, at times, some fairly traumatic events. All right, something I shared with the group. We're going to have a nice break in a minute. We've got some more homework to do. Woo! I'm excited. No, I can't get you guys to fire up. I'm still figuring out what we can do.
Just a question.
Electric bolts, yeah?
Yeah.
Just a question from your experience and with other coaches, and sort of to what extent does the pastoral care sort of take on from the coach?
Yeah, that's becoming a lot better. I think the teams in Sydney, you guys are different the way the culture is set up, but the NRL teams, AFL teams as well to a degree, with what they call Indigenous relationship staff that understand the Australian Indigenous population, the uniqueness of the culture and the uniqueness of the players that they've got from that cultural heritage. Waratahs have got a Pacific Islander liaison guy. He's pretty good. He's a Samoan and understands the importance of culture and family and faith.
And they're in that sort of coaching environment.
Yeah, and they're part of the coaching group. So that's because they build the relationships with the guys. So they, understand the respect relationships. Very unusual for, I think, particularly Samoan Tongan kids to speak up to the coach and say, I think this is wrong, or it's just some of the guys will. Depends on where they grow up, but we found that many of them are too respectful and have too much of a cultural influence to be comfortable doing that all the time. Whereas if they've got someone who maybe speaks their own language, understands the culture, it's got a connection with them in their community and their faith, they're more likely to be open, and you might find out some things that you may not have found out otherwise as a coach. Because one of the things I look for is the way that kids deal with loss. Not grieving loss, but the way kids learn to deal with loss. Anger is normal. Isn't that good news? Anger is normal. Athletes are putting so much time and effort and energy into getting better. It's normal for them to go, I cannot believe I missed that shot! I bloody hate that! Jesus! Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. That's really normal. You don't want to stop a 14 or 15-year-old kid losing their temper and getting angry at a performance because they've got so much emotion invested in it. But this is the difference. Can't believe I made it. Oh man, next week of training, I'm going to go through that. I'm going to get it right. I'm so furious. What rings alarm bells for me is this, is when they go, I can't believe I missed that shot. I always miss that stuff. I'm never going to get that right. I'm no good. I cannot believe I've done it again. Always happens to me. Why is this going to happen to me? I'm so bloody hopeless. When that starts to happen, that's not particularly normal. So it's really normal to be angry and express frustration that this thing you've put so much time and effort into hasn't gone the way you want, and it's very normal then to work harder at making it better. What's not normal is for them to get angry and then allow it to spiral into, I'm no good, I'm useless, I'm worthless. It's always, nothing ever happens to anyone else, it always happens to me, I'm terrible. That's when you've got to take some action. That's when you've got to see a psych, sit down and talk to mum and dad. That's when you've got to do something, is when the negativity goes from being projected at the performance, which is something I can work on, till it starts to come in. Can we turn the video off for a minute? Right.